This fall, Californians will be asked whether to remove Gavin Newsom. It's only the second time in history that Californians are facing a gubernatorial recall election. The first time was in 2003. That was 18 years ago. The governor was Gray Davis.
He was just reelected in 2002. He wasn't super popular. At that time, if you recall, we were having energy blackouts, brownouts. The voters were pretty angry. There was a car tax increase that also galvanized voters. And so it sort of set the stage for his recall.
More than 130 candidates were on the ballot to replace him, including Arnold Schwarzenegger, Ariana Huffington, Corey Feldman, pornographer Larry Flynt, and child actor Gary Coleman. Voters replaced Davis with Schwarzenegger. Like Davis, Newsom is governing during a time of intense voter frustration.
When this recall attempt started, they originally were talking about Newsom's immigration policy, homelessness, that kind of thing. Then the pandemic happened, we shut down, and there was a lot of growing frustration among parents, among voters, about school closures as well, business owners, just a growing frustration about what exactly are we doing here? And then you had Governor Newsom go to that infamous dinner at French Laundry as he's telling all of us not to visit our families for Thanksgiving. And that just also really galvanized voters.
The latest effort to recall Newsom is one of 6 launched since he took office in 2019, and the only one to gather the just under 1.5 million petition signatures from registered voters necessary to qualify for the ballot. The effort was spearheaded by supporters of former President Trump with assistance from far-right fringe groups, and has since been embraced by mainstream California Republicans and received financial support from the National Republican Party. Former San Diego Mayor Kevin Faulconer, former Representative Doug Osee, Olympian-turned-reality-television-star Caitlyn Jenner, and businessman John Cox, who lost the gubernatorial election to Newsom in 2018, are among the candidates who have announced plans to challenge Newsom.
And then we're also seeing some of the same faces that we saw in 2003, including former porn star Mary Carey and Billboard star Angeline.
More candidates are certain to emerge. Voters will be asked 2 questions on the recall ballot. Do they want to recall Newsom? And if Newsom is recalled, which candidate would they want to replace him?
So the big question is, does another Democrat get into the race? Newsom and his allies believe it's really important to not have another Democrat in this race, to be able to paint this purely as a Republican effort and to keep Democrats all aligned behind him. That said, there are some Democrats who believe you have to have a second choice, because if Newsom is recalled and you don't have that second choice, that means that a Republican governor will be elected.
Opposition to a Newsom recall is growing as Caitlyn Jenner and other GOP candidates generate little support.
Newsom is in a better situation than Davis was, in part because the state's finances are much better now than they were in 2003.
We're announcing $12 billion tax rebate to the people of the state of California earning up to $75,000.
Newsom has proposed a second round of $600 state stimulus checks to hasten California's recovery from the COVID-19 pandemic.
I'm sure he is arguing that he is doing these policies because they're the right thing to do, but it's impossible not to look at them through the lens of the recall. As voters start to think about whether they want to oust him for office, they're getting a check from him.
With the spread of COVID-19 plummeting in California, triggering reopenings across the state after a devastating year of lockdowns, the campaign to recall Newsom from office could lose one of its strongest selling points by the time the special election occurs. Still, the effort to recall Newsom is in the beginning stages, providing ample time for political fortunes to rise and fall. To remove Newsom from office, more than 50% of voters will need to cast their ballots in favor of the recall.
Because of the different things that can happen throughout this process, we don't know exactly when the election is going to be, but it's almost certainly to be either late October or in November.